very, very happy and excited to be able to be your teacher today. So I'll be teaching this on Zoom in a week or two, and I think this week, yeah, I think on Thursday. So that's why I'm doing this class now. I always like to do a practice painting. So this is, and now what I'm doing now, instead of just doing a practice painting on my own, I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. I'm practicing the painting, and I am going to post it to YouTube so that I have a new tutorial on my YouTube channel. So we're going to put a little bit of brown here. You're actually going to need, quite a bit of brown because you're going to cover a pretty big area. And this is burnt umber. So I'll put a list, like I said, that you need to put. And we're just going to put a little bit of water. And we're going to come here, touch this, get the brush full. You don't want it down here on the ferrule. You want to just keep the brush uploaded up here. And we're going to kind of establish the ground here. We want to just come across, boom, right there. Okay. And then we're going to have like some flowers up here and stuff. So we kind of just want to, right now, we're just going to kind of figure out where maybe that face is going to go. It's going to be right in the middle right here, right in the middle area here. So we're just going to put a line here. Just kind of draw this out a little bit. We want to get something going there. So we want to straighten that out. Right now is a good time to straighten it out. And we're just kind of sketching here a little bit. It's not nothing perfect. And I'm not that great of a sketcher, but we're going to sketch. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I didn't do it exactly the way where I really wanted. This is a great time right now to try to really get the proportions that you want in the painting. And it might look a little messy, but this is fine because we're going to put a lot of paint on here. And I kind of, I have a big brush here, so I'm going to go to like a smaller brush since we are drawing right here. I'm going to go to my round brush right here. It's more of like a drawing brush, and it's more of a sketching brush. So I can come down here and we'll get a line going right here. The vase isn't even going to be this color. It's going to be a completely different color. But we're just kind of, the vase is the focal point, so we just really want to establish where that's going to be at. It might, sometimes we started painting like this, like I'm doing now, I'm glad this actually happened because I'm kind of making a mess, and I want you to know that it's fine. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. So many paintings start off like this, and then you just kind of, you're building your foundation of the painting right now. So this is what's great about paint is you could just, you get paint over it. I mean, if you get it cleaner, that's great, because if you could do that, then you'll have a lot less, stuff to paint over, and it'll be a little bit easier. But either way, you can still kind of get to the same finish line. Carving your painting out like this. Okay. So we have just established kind of how this vase, this kind of the shape of this vase. We're trying to make sure it's not totally off balance or anything. It's probably going to have a line going here, but we ain't going to really be able to see that. There's going to be flowers and stuff coming out of there. So right now we're doing pretty good, and let's see here. That's how fast the paint has dried. The paint is already completely dried in here. So I'll see if I can wet it and even move some of this paint around. But it's already dry. Look at that. It's completely dry. I can't even touch that. It's all fast right now. This time of year is just like so, it's cold and stuff, but like the paint in the beginning of winter, I couldn't get the paint to stay dry. So now we're going to cover all this foreground with just all this ground here with this brown color. And that's the color it's going to be. It's going to be like a brown color. So we're just going to spread that paint around, get a good bunch of paint on there, and we're just going to paint all of this brown. We're going to cover all this bottom canvas area with some nice brown color. And don't try to fix like that vase yet. I mean, just if you had the problem that I have, just keep painting through. You know, you're going to get back to it. You have to do, you know, it's acrylic paint, so you want to go in steps, and you'll be able to get back to that and fix it. So we kind of want these strokes to go left to right, mostly, if we want to get the feel of the painting that we're trying to imitate. And we're just going to paint all of this. And it's, you know, brown is a little bit transparent. Now, I'm using a panel board, so there's not really any sides on this. It's kind of a flat panel board. It's canvas, just like regular canvas. The backing is, it's like wrapped around a cardboard and kind of like glued down to it. They're good boards. They're good boards. And you don't, you know, I like using them sometimes. I don't use them all the time. I kind of like the traditional canvases, but I also like these. These are good. And these, the thing about these is you could put them in a frame that would hold like a picture because they're thin. So not like a canvas frame that has to be specially mounted into a canvas frame. So that's one of the advantages of this. And then I would say you could add a little bit of Mars Black, and we'll kind of try to establish the shadow that's going to happen from this. So, you know, you want to, I put a little Mars Black here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of black. I don't want it to be black. I want it to be like a black brown. Probably, but it has to be different from the regular brown because otherwise it won't, you know, it won't show up. But the shadow is, and I'm back to my bigger brush here. The shadow's kind of going this way. And we could, like I said, we're in the early stages. It's kind of nice to just establish this shadow right now, though. And we'll probably go over all this brown again before this is done. If it needs it. Sometimes it doesn't need it, so you just leave it alone. Don't try to overdo it. So there's kind of like the shadow. You're going to want to establish that. It's only like going up to this part, so you're not getting the whole area up here of the reflection and of the shadowing. Just to keep it simple. Okay. So now we got most of our browns kind of established here. So what's happening up here in the top part is that we're gonna go with some blue. So I'm gonna go with the phthalo green, the blue shade, the green shade, phthalo blue green shade, or just whatever phthalo blue. If you have phthalo blue, that's, I think they just have a regular one. There's just two different variations of it. I don't know if I think they just have a regular phthalo. And you're gonna want some white. So you're not gonna go like, I'll show you the difference. So I'll just use the 1/2 inch brush here, and I'll just show you Okay, so what these paints will do, so there's the phthalo green shade, and I'm just gonna go, and we'll see what it looks like. We're gonna just put a little tester piece up here in the corner, and you're gonna see, wow, that's just like really rich and really dark, and like it's gonna be too dark probably against the sunflower. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little chunk of this like that, and we're gonna mix it into this white, and we're gonna make like, I don't want a baby blue, but I want like a middle blue, maybe something like that, somewhere in the middle between white and this green shade blue. And we'll just put a little tester up there, and I kind of like that. I think that's a good blue. And I want you to do it just like this. I want you to stroke it just like this. I don't want, because Van Gogh style is short little strokes and it's very painterly. Now, not too thick, because we need to have this dry so we can move on. And maybe a little more white. I think it needs to be a little bit lighter, and we're just gonna fill the board just like this. And really, I could get like my bigger brush. I'll cover more space, but I'm gonna stick with this one because I kind of like the feel of the smaller stroke. I mean, it's not super small. I'm using a 1/2-inch brush. That's a good size brush. And you just got to come around and just kind of follow that line. And then you could just go back to the up and down hashing of the brush here until you get mostly everything covered. And I don't want it to be a solid, consistent blue. I want that blue to be kind of broken up a little bit so that you can see some of the strokes, and you can see some parts are lighter in the background and some parts are darker, and there's different blends of blue that are moving around in the painting in the background. It's not just one solid blue. You don't want that. So try not to do that. I know a lot of people, that's what they end up doing. So if it helps you, you could even mix like 2 different tones of blue. Here's, maybe do a medium one here, and then maybe take some white and do a lighter one over here. And so then what you'll do with that is you'll do some strokes over here like that, and then you'll pull from this other side, which is darker, and you'll do a few here like that, and then go back to the other one, which is lighter, and kind of try to mix them in there like that. I think I need more white though. It's not even getting light enough. It's going back to the darker side, to the dark side. Yeah, and again, like try not to make it too thick because we need all this blue to dry so that we could paint all these beautiful sunflowers that are going to go over the top of this. So there we go. See, I just don't want your brush strokes to be, for it to all be the same. And then change directions with your brush too. Yeah, so then here we go. We're going to just keep putting paint on the canvas, and see, we're making progress here, so that's good. We're making good progress. we kind of want to come down in here. Yeah, you're going to want to come all the way into here. You see how that brown's gone? So same thing we're going to do down in here. We're going to cover all of this. I want you to come right along the edges here. Every once in a while you got to put a little water on your brush, but not too much. If you make it too watery, it won't work very well. You'll start to just pull paint off the canvas. So I think someone told me it's like you want to use no more than 20 to 30% water, probably more like 20% water. After that, you start breaking down pigment, and it's hard for the binding of the pigment. You start to lose some of the vibrance of the paint, and its ability to coagulate and kind of stay on the canvas the right way. Anyways, I've heard some people really freak out over that stuff, but it's just paint. Don't freak out. Everything's fine. You could do this. If I could do this at any level, I mean, you could certainly do this too. So, yeah. Painting is for anybody who wants to do it. Just have to have a little bit of belief and desire, and maybe some passion would help too. But even if you don't have any of that, I have a great line from Picasso that I like to share all the time. Picasso said, another artist shared this with me, and it's just really been so awesome that they shared it with me. But it's what he says is, Picasso says, inspiration is possible, but it must find you working. Isn't that awesome? It's awesome because it's true. That's why it's awesome. It's awesome because it's true. So here we go. We're just gonna paint. We're gonna do some sunflowers. So I'm switching to a smaller, the small round brush. If you're watching the video, obviously you see that I just did that. And I'm kind of carving out the vase a little bit more here at the bottom. And this is just like one of many layers of paint. And again, it is just paint, so don't be afraid to just go for it. Okay, so that's all we need is the outline of the vase right here for right now. And you want to keep working in. Some people, they like to do like this, so the shadow is kind of going this way, okay? So that means the light source is coming from over here, right? It's backlit, and there's some light somewhere bouncing off this wall that's causing the shadow to go this way. Whatever this blue wall is, I don't know what it is. It's just a blue wall, just a background, we'll call it an abstract background. And we believe from this abstract background that some light is coming this way towards us. So what that means is that the shadow, is casting kind of almost straight. I probably should have made it more angled. Maybe I will. I'll switch it to a little bit more angle. But if the light's coming from this side, there'd be more, maybe over here would be more darker on this side. So we'll just make a few darker strokes here. And maybe on this side it'd be a little bit lighter because the light source is coming from this area. Maybe. But we're going to say, I'm going to say in this painting that it is. I'm going to insinuate that. I'm going to suggest that with the color tone choices that I'm making now. And it can be very subtle, or it could be very bold. It just depends on what you like. You have to try it. You have to experiment with it and see the effects and how how you have to study it. And then if you like it that way, then maybe you'll get a theme going on the way you like to do things. But thinking about light as you're painting is a good thing to do. Thinking about light, considering light. I mean, everything in painting is just really about values. You want to see your darkest darks in the painting. You think about the darkest darks and your lightest lights, and try to block those areas in first. Okay, I think background's getting pretty done up here. Kind of liking it. And I don't have, and it's, you can tell from I can see that you could tell from well, I'm looking at the video recording, like I'm recording with this camera, and I'm thinking it looks like an abstract background. So that's what we want. We want something abstract. At least that's what I want. I mean, if you think if you like it a little different, then by all means, you have choices. You're in control. You're in painting, you are completely in control. It's up to you what you want to do. But also the paint, if you let the paint just do its thing, there's a thing called the flow. And if you kind of just let things flow, the paint will kind of do its job. Don't fight with it. I find myself fighting with a lot of paintings, and sometimes you do got to fight, though. You got to fight with it until you get that flow, and then once that flow's there, then you just kind of let things go. You don't think about it too hard. You let your subconscious mind do the work. You've seen all these things, and and the data is there in your brain. It's just a matter of getting that through your fingers into a flow with your thought process and your hands, Okay, so we're pretty far down the road here. This is looking pretty cool. So what we gotta do here is I gotta kind of let this stuff dry. It's drying pretty fast. That's really awesome. Yeah, I did some paintings yesterday. Oh my gosh, they just did not want to dry. So okay, so I'm gonna move this around a little bit so I can get a better angle at this. At the bottom here, I'm going to try to see if I can make this straight. Oops, no, I didn't want to do that. Might be time for a new canvas. Or not a new canvas, but a new style easel for these videos, maybe. So I have to think about that. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. I think you got a good shot there. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to work on some of this. I'm going to take a little bit of that brown. I'm going to add a little bit of white to it to make it somewhat opaque, so I could kind of block out that, because I kind of want to make that more like at an angle. Yeah, something like that. And I'm going to bring that out, and I'm going to go back to that brown. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. And then, oh, I don't want to get that much white. Just want to kind of only darken up this a little bit. Yeah, and then we'll just move that over. So I'm just going to add a little bit of black to that brown now, so that we can get that shadow a little bit better. I kind of like this angle of the shadow better than what it was. Yeah, I like that. Now I'm probably over painting here. So that's what I tell all my students: don't overpaint. If you're kind of painting, getting a little issue in a certain area, just move on. But I think we're all right here. I don't feel like I'm struggling or anything. I'm just, oops, with a lot of paint there. Okay, so we got some brown going on there. Also, make sure you keep your brushes in the water so that they don't get dry. Because if they get dry, then they're really hard to fix. And a lot of times you just end up having to buy new brushes because they'll get stiff really quick. Now I'm just gonna put some. So we're gonna go back to that brown, and I'm gonna use. One color I forgot to mention that we're gonna need is green. So you're gonna want a good green here, like a phthalo green, and probably another good color to have would be yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is a great color for a painting like this. So here's a phthalo green. It's going to be a good one. So there's kind of like some branches here. Like these are the branches off of the I have a hooker's green here too. I'll try that one. It's called hooker's green. It's a good color though for the right purpose. So what I want to do is I'm going to establish some branches that are going to come into this vase right here. And I got a little bit of green here. I got phthalo green, hooker's green. I'm going to kind of mix them together a little bit. I'll start over here. Mostly the phthalo green. Maybe I want a little bit of this darker green in there. And these are the stems that we're going to do. And so on this brush, I always tell people you have a fat side and then you have a thin side. See how it disappeared? It's fat, it's thin. So we're going to use a thin side like a knife, and we're going to make these limbs here, these branches here. And there's quite a few. So you have they don't touch all the way at the bottom, but they're right around. They do come down here in this area, and they're going to be a couple in the middle, just like that. Maybe one here. Maybe they're going to cross like that, and then there'll be a couple that just go way over here. And maybe one that goes, kind of crosses into that one. And maybe there's a few more. One over here that kind of goes there. Maybe there's another one. Maybe it goes right here. Okay, so it should be something like that. And you gotta kind of let those dry, and then we're gonna go to our smaller brush, and we're gonna put up some. We're gonna use like the brown black color. And you're going to want to do some sunflowers up here. So let's say there's we'll make the circles. Maybe there's a big one right here. And maybe there's a big one right in here. And there's one over here. Keep your brush wet. Maybe there's one that's kind of over here. Okay, and then these more like with your brown black. You want to mix like a brown black, more on the brown side, so it's like a dark brown. And you're just gonna start to make some of these. This one would be just want to kind of give a real, you don't have to, make a very, it's just a rough sketch, so not every detail, you don't want like every single detail, just make them look like little suns, okay, and then they're going to overlap, so maybe this one goes in front of that one. And some of the ones, they kind of, they're going to kind of come angle down. Okay. Maybe this one. And there's a nice one over here. It's like this. And they're kind of overlapping, and when we get to the other paint, you're going to have to decide like what you want to make decisions there. What you want to fill in with color. And then you need a couple off to the side. So with some of that green paint, you're going to have something just kind of coming down here. And it's going to be, still using that same outline. It's going to be like You won't be able to see the little round ball in there because it's kind of hanging down. And this back end would just be like, you know, the greenery. Be some green leaves. And then there's kind of one on this side too that kind of brings everything home. Comes out of here. And all the leaves are, they're going to come out of that. And then you're gonna want to kind of draw in the green stuff. So you'd say around these flowers. Well, let me see. I think I want to put a few more sunflower limbs. Okay. Well, I think the rest is going to be a lot of leaves. So we'll do those greens so that, you know, I want to get these down closer to the. Let me go back to the brown. We're not done with the brown yet. Kind of want to make these bigger so that they come over these branches right here. Yeah. I'll have to do green now. I think I'm going to have to do green. And the branches, the green's going to really come up around here. There'll be some over here. These are more like leaves now. Okay. So now I wanna really go to like a little bit of a bigger brush. I don't wanna. Yeah, I don't want to be too skimpy here with a little tiny brush. So I'm gonna go with some yellow ochre. We'll see how that works out. I think yellow ochre is gonna be the ticket. And I want a little bit of this cadmium yellow deep hue. It's a nice yellow. This basic stuff is very fluid. Oh, I got a big chunk of my pants. Try not to waste that. Yeah, all my clothes have paint on them. Okay, so we're going to I'm going to mix a little bit of paint. Mix a little bit of this. I have two paints here I'm going to try. So I have this one with that. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to that. So I have a little bit of white here. I'm going to add a little bit of white. The reason I'm going to add white over here is because this will be the first coat of the paint, and it needs white because we're painting against that blue background color, and that will show through somewhat. So we want to make sure that this first layer of paint is pretty opaque. And we just want to get that, and it kind of paint inside. If you have the outline, just kind of paint inside that outline. Yeah, it's really nice. Just like that. And see, if I was using a little tiny brush, just one of those leaves would just, I mean, I'd be here for days. And I mean, for purposes of this video, I mean, I'm not trying to paint that way where I'll be here painting for 3 hours. I want this painting to be done in pretty quick and be very painterly and be done in, I want you to be able to paint this in about no more than 2.5 hours. And like I said, things will be overlapping here, and you got to kind of make choices as you go along. I think my stomach was grumbling there. Maybe the food I ate earlier. I'm not hungry, so. Although I have been trying to diet, but diets, as everyone knows, are quite impossible. You know, I think it's more about exercise. That's probably what I need more than a diet. Okay, so kind of liking the way it's looking right now, and we'll just keep moving along here. And you know, like, I think I want to come a little higher here in this line, and so that's fine because I'm going to come later and I could go over this, you know, with some outline. I just want to really establish. I think that's going to be behind. That'll be the back. Yeah, like that. Okay, you gotta just keep kind of mixing those colors together. It's working out quite well with this white. Let me go there. That's probably gonna. Okay. Okay, I think we're getting there. There's a few other spots in here I could see. Okay, it's a really good start with these branches, and we'll come back. And I kind of want to do the same thing with the green. I'm gonna go with some of that Hooker's green, mixed with some of that phthalo, but I'm gonna add a little bit of white there also. See if I can get a good color. Nah, it's too much white. Maybe I want it more brilliant. I think I like that more brilliant white color. The phthalo green is just, that's a nice green. So I'm going to kind of go with that. With a little bit of white. I don't want the green to overpower the yellow. So I want to make it a little lighter but dark enough to have good contrast against the yellow there. And for some of the bigger areas, I'm just going to go ahead with a bigger brush. Okay. We got some cool stuff going on here. Okay, so you're going to want to get like a smaller brush. So at this point, we could start to work on some of these circles here. And you don't need a very big brush for that. And that's going to be, I would say, I'm going to go with my Paynes gray with a little bit of brown, but I'm going to make it a very dark brown. Very dark brown. Almost black. And we'll start to fill that in like this. Just little jobs. Just want to jab that in. Using a smaller brush here, I want it to be jabs just like this. it's a circle, but it's broken up a little bit with the paint. You can put it on there pretty thick. Just break the plane of that circle a little bit. There you go. So it's starting to come together a little bit, I think. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, wow, I think I need a few more items in there, and I kind of want to go for that. So it's a little bit wet, but maybe if I go with thick paint and I don't press too hard, I can establish a few more petals in there. Maybe like right there. Yeah, this one. We'll go here. And boom. How do you like that? And then we're just gonna come in there. Boom. Okay. We'll go out over these a little bit just to give them a little more pop. And I think that yellow ochre is the ticket, but I do like using a little bit, brightening it up a little bit with this orangey yellow, which is it's called a cadmium yellow deep hue. It just see that. So this is more on the yellow ochre. This is a little bit brighter because it's on the. It just brings it out a little bit more. I like the contrast of the two, and it works well. And then just again with that little bit of white mixed in, it makes it a little more opaque, so you could get in there and just do your thing. And then we'll establish some lines here. Wow, look at that. Wow. Yeah, I like that. You got to put, that little touch of white. Just, oh yeah. Look at that. Boom. Wow. Just really like this color. It's going to really... So we're just painting along. I'll try to add some music into this, but YouTube is. I'm on YouTube, so they like to do. You can't play any music that's not your music, so they do have music I could add in after that's like YouTube music, and I might try to do that for certain parts of the video, but it'd be a lot more pleasant if I was able to just play some type of ambient music for some of these parts where we're just getting in the zone, just painting away. So I'm going to try to keep it interesting, hopefully I won't talk your head off too much, but hopefully I can add some insight for you into painting. So if you're wondering about me, I have been painting, well, I should say I've been painting my whole life, but I've never really been like a trained painter by anyone. I was trained to be a graphic designer, and I got a bachelor's degree to prove it. And while I was doing that, I also was able to take some art classes and learn a little bit about painting. But I'd always just painted on my own as a child. I won an art contest when I was in the 3rd grade at my school. And I've always just kind of been artistically, I won't say inclined, I've always had a love for it, because that's really what the difference is for anybody who's doing art at any kind of level. You just have to have a love for it. It's something, if you have it, that love for it, then that'll take you a long ways. It'll take you further than any kind of talent. It's just that desire to want to do it. And a lot of people get stopped there at the desire because they're too self-conscious to put themselves out there, because everybody will see their work. So they don't like the idea of people maybe talking about their work. Sometimes some people don't even want them to talk about it, even if it's good. They don't like that kind of attention. So, but I do it. I think everybody has their own personal journey, but I do it just because I'm compelled to paint. So I want to paint, and I can't explain it really 100%, but it's just, I enjoy it. It's fun. Some people like to do other things, and this is what I like to do. And I think, no matter what you're painting for, the most important thing is to have fun, enjoy it, and do the best you can. And if you want to get good, really good at painting, you just keep painting. That's the way you get better. There's no rocket science to it. Okay, so I think those are really established. We'll have to let some of that dry. So I want to come with some of this darker color of Hooker's Green. I'm going to add a little bit of the Paynes Gray to that, but I want it to be more on the green side. And I'm using the same smaller round brush because it's kind of, we're drawing outlines. It's Van Gogh style painting is a lot of outlining. So with that in mind, we're going to try to do some outlining here. Yeah. Don't forget that Paynes gray and your green there. If you don't have a hooker's green like I have, you could just use a regular green and just make it a little bit darker. And that's all you gotta do. We're gonna fill in some of these little gaps here with some this darker paint here. Kind of liking it. Looks not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. I think we could put take a little tiny tad of red, just a tiny bit of red. So I have just a tad of red here, but I'm going to mix it with, I'm going to clean my brush off first. And I'm going to mix it with some of this yellow here. So I'm going to take some yellow. Actually, I'll take it down here. Take a little bit of red. I'll mix that in. Try to make like an orangey color. There you go. Like something like that. Maybe I want a little bit more. Make an orangey color like that. I kind of want to get it nice and wet. Nice and wet. Let me clean my brush off. So I got my brush pretty dried off and clean, but I made it like a, you know, a little fluidy orange here. And I just want to add a little bit of highlights here. So I'll put a lot of water there so that it'll be a little transparent, but you'll still see the highlight. There's that. You can use your finger sometimes just to wipe some paint off. Then you're going to want to just, you know, I clean my brush off, so I got it pretty clean. Rinse it out, and you kind of dry it off a little bit. And, you know, you have all these black areas here, but those areas, you want to either use some yellow, or if you have it, you know, some of that, start off with some of that yellow ochre. And we're just going to go in there and start doing those dots again, like that. Real light. Don't go in the same direction like I did on that one. Like change directions. Probably did. I should have. I went too much on the first one. But I'll come back with some black over the top of that. Yeah, it's hard to stay consistent here, so we'll have to just work at it a little bit. That one's a lot darker. So too many lines the same way here. Should essentially just be like little dots. Let's see if you go hard on there. So maybe even use a smaller brush than the one I have. But yeah, I mean that looks pretty decent. I can come back with a little bit of Payne's gray. Let me see, I need to get some more. I think I used a lot of it. Okay. A little bit of Payne's gray. Yeah, as long as I clean my brush off, I could come back like with that color for pretty, like right away. And but try not to make too much of a mess in there though. There we go. I think that's a little better. But I could let it dry and come back, you know, put some more layers on there. Now I'm just looking around and seeing like, oh, where are things I could add to or take away from. And we're getting close. I still want to keep working on these flowers. I see a few areas I really want to like try to work on, like right here. Wow, that's too white, which is fine. I'll darken it up. Okay. And I think the flowers like look pretty good. I could touch up some of the green. I just keep going back to the same brush because I'm really liking the brush right now. But I want to touch up a few little green areas here. Little. Wow. I like it. I'm always amazed how paint just lays onto the canvas sometimes. It's just when you're in a good, little paint session. So beautiful, so rich. Okay. It's a fun painting. I'm really enjoying this. It's simple and really gorgeous. Okay. So the colors, the colors are really what makes a paint like this. So, I see a few spots over there. So I clean the brush off real good because I'm switching from, going back and forth from the green to the yellow to the green to the yellow. So you got to remember to clean your brush off pretty good. But I see a few spots right here. And right here. Okay, I'm gonna use my smaller brush, and we're gonna go back. We're gonna use some of that brown. It's the burnt umber, and I'm gonna put like a little bit of an outline around some of these flowers. I'm gonna mix that with a little bit of Payne's gray, but we want it more on the brown side, so it'll be like a dark brown. I'm just gonna do, I don't have to get every part of it outlined, but I think it's kind of cool if we can. Something that Van Gogh used to do a lot of outlining. So I don't feel like you want to get a lot of outline in there, but not everything. Just like leave some things kind of undone. The viewer will finish it. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Hold on. I don't know why, it just does. I think that's what Van Gogh was thinking when he did it. When he decided to outline things in a way that was probably counterintuitive. I don't know where I came up with that word, but I think that's the right word. And I think he did get rejected for it by the snobs, by the art snobs. But then somehow he unfortunately didn't get to see his success because he kind of lost his mind. I don't know if it had anything to do with painting or not, if he was just going to lose his mind anyways. But whatever the case was, the guy changed the whole mindset of the world when it comes to, I guess, the visual concept of trying to keep like a consistent line, but it doesn't always work. I could kind of let the paint do what it wants to do, but I could also come back and make adjustments if I want to. And that's one of the great things about painting. Is that you could make adjustments because it's just paint. I'm still trying to use a darker shade of brown, which is lightening up. I got to add a little more black to this. And You got a lot going on there. So I think most of the flowers done. We could come back if we need to and do touch-ups there. But I think for the most part, the flowers are there. So now what I'm going to do is, you know, you're probably wondering, oh, how am I going to make that look like glass? Well, I'm going to show you. You're going to want to mix, well, it's all blue there, so really what you need, so glass, you see the straight through it. And really what you need here is just some white, a little bit of white. You want the white to be a little bit watered down, so that it has some transparency. And you need a clean brush, pretty clean brush. And you just want to make sure you have that water in there. Make sure your brush is real clean. And you just, what you're going to do is just kind of follow this outline here. And I'm going to use, I always forget about this part at the bottom. I had a hard time with that last time. But use my finger to rub that in. And we're going to come around here. Oh. You have a round part there. Now, a lot of this would be covered up because it's the glass. At that point, I like to use this one, this brush. And you got to kind of establish a line right here. Where the water's at. And you have, there's kind of a, going to be a line here. And you want a little bit more water down between these. There you go. Make sure this line is kind of an important line. And the illusion of things. And that's where I come with a little bit more pure white. Okay. The point is, you need to see some of that blue behind coming through. The blue has to be coming through real strong. I mean, there should be a little brown down here, honestly, like to make it really look more realistic. So you probably just be like a lighter color of brown. You mix a little bit with white, and you can get some of that in here. But it'll be like offset. And I think that's kind of it. So, you know, the idea is that you got to let some of this blue show through. Really, there should be some blue down here. We could work. I was never 100% happy with like the shadow on this. I wanted the shadow to be more of an angle, but I think I can go with the shadow a little wider here. Yeah, like that maybe. Just some little details. Probably not necessary, but it was kind of bothering me a little bit. Now I'm making a mess. So, don't make a mess. It's okay. It's always a mess until it's not. And you gotta just kind of go with the flow. That's probably not what exactly it's supposed to look like, but it looks fine. And then, you know, you could, there's so many things you could do. Just work on that line. That one. And boom. So that's about a 2-hour painting. And there's probably still like a lot of little touch-ups you could do. I'll go like, I don't think it was even 2 hours because I talked most of it. So when I cut this down, it's going to be about an hour and a half. But I mean, I would give myself about 2.5 hours to paint it all the way. That's just some people paint faster, some people paint a little slower. I mean, unless you have a reason to be in a rush, there's no. But I love the painting fast and then just seeing. I never know exactly what's going to happen. I think I do sometimes, and then something else happens, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Usually, I'm like that. I just like to keep a good attitude about whatever it is I'm painting. So it definitely helps. It definitely helps to keep a good attitude. Cannot be underestimated. Good attitude cannot be underestimated. I think a good attitude is a healthy attitude. That's what it is. So I can even come around here and I'm going to say, I'm going to get really nitpicky now, which is, I'm supposed to just let this kind of flow and let subtle mistakes happen, but I could just come in here and like fix some blues. Although I know I'm not supposed to do that. I'm doing it anyways. I don't like in here, it's like a little, because you're supposed to be kind of just getting lost in here with no, the vase doesn't really have a ending or beginning there. It's behind the leaves somewhere, the top of it. So I feel like I'm kind of losing that. So maybe I want to work on that a little bit. By working on some of these leaves. And maybe adding another leaf in there. put one right here. Right there where the problem seems to be. Just make it go away. And I'm going to extend this one out. Make it go away. Yeah, I like that. And we're going to come. I'm going to make this kind of curve in here. Kind of break up that limb right there. Yeah, I like that. And then I think I'm going to bring out that. I'm going to bring out that yellow. I like this yellow mixture that I'm making. It's really cool. Okay, I'm going to bring in, I want to bring this one down a little bit. Right in there. I don't know. It's like it's going a little further than the other ones. It's all right. It's a little odd, but it's interesting. So. Did I go too far? I don't know. We'll give it a little rest and we'll come back to it. Let the subconscious mind work on that for me instead of stressing out about it. There's plenty of other areas I could work on this painting. Little things that... Now I'm doing details. We don't really need any details. I mean, the painting's done, but I just want to work on some details. I want to add a few more things on here. Which brings to question, when is a painting done? How do you know when you're done with a painting? I'm still trying to figure that out. So, I've heard some pretty cool things that I'll share with you. One is that paintings are never done. They're only abandoned. I don't know who said that, but whoever told me that, it stuck with me. So there must be something about it that has a ring of truth. And the other one is, I heard recently, I was watching something on YouTube. They were interviewing an artist. God, I can't remember who her name was, what her name was. She was very interesting, though. I could find it, but I just don't have it in my head right now. But I do remember the statement she made. The statement was, and she said she had heard this from another artist who told this to her, which helped her. In return, she said it in her interview, and it's helping me. But she said that you'll know when your painting's done when it's not hungry anymore. That sounds kind of funny, but definitely very true, because it just, you want to keep painting on a painting until you don't. You know, it's just what happens. So I totally related to that. And I was like, wow, I like that one. Gonna have to use that one. And here I am. So I think we achieved mostly everything here that we're trying to achieve. You could put a little bit more oranginess into, if you wanted to make another orange, something more on the orangey side. You could add a little bit of that pigment, that orangey pigment, to some of these. I wouldn't go crazy, maybe just a few. There we go. Yeah, I'd give it a little bit, a little kind of cool touch. And I don't know. What do you think? I think we look pretty good. I could critique it. I'd say a few things, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call it done. And one thing I like to do, I'd always recommend you just go ahead and sign your painting. I'll use this really cool yellow that we've been using. Put a little signature over here. Gotta get a different brush for that. Here we go, I got a finer brush. Now, see, here's the thing that's cool about when it's fresh. Look at that, I could just wipe it right off and start over if you do it quick enough. Once it dries, it's kind of really hard to do that, but if it's not dry, then go for it. Art 23 for the year 23. Now I find I sign paintings sometimes, not like quite a bit lately, and you're supposed to wait until they're done. I heard an artist today say that he doesn't decide if he's done with the painting until the next day. I think that's kind of cool. He never decides on that night, so he wouldn't sign it yet. He would wait till way after to sign his painting. I just get anxious, so I just want to sign it. Well, I sign it more for like a demonstration to remind everybody that they should always sign their paintings, no matter what level you're at. You should always sign your paintings and be proud of your work. Now I'm using a little tiny brush. And I'm using a long handle, so I'm cheating now. So, but if you have one, heck, use it. Use a long handle. This is like a round number 0. So this is more for like little details, which I don't think Van Gogh ever used a round number 0. He used a lot of big brushes and fast Philly strokes. But I'm just going to have a little more fun here with this. See, now that I'm on the last layer with acrylic, with oil, I mean, he laid it on there because we're using acrylic. So Van Gogh, I mean, he used oil. Man, he just gobbed it on there. It was like so thick. I went to a class one time with a Van Gogh class, and it was with an instructor who was in the movie. She was one of the people who painted for the Van Gogh movie set. There's a movie that was made. Gosh, I can't think of the name of that movie, but it was made. Some of you might know about it. It was made with all painted canvases. Every scene was painted onto a canvas. It's the only first time a movie's ever been done like that, and it was pretty awesome. They've done so many cool things with Van Gogh's work, and it was. I don't know if I've watched the movie all the way through or not. I think I watched parts of it. If you've ever seen like, I don't know, it's just a very trippy animation. But anyways, I went to her class and we painted, and man, it was just, I thought I knew, I knew that he had used thick paint, but the way that she taught us was the way that he actually painted, because they were all graded. To be able to be in the movie, you had to get graded by the people, and you had to know how to paint like Van Gogh. And if you're not, you had to learn really fast, or you wouldn't, get put into it. They actually had a training course, and they taught them all the style they wanted, and then they had to go through a rigorous course and a crash course on Van Gogh painting, and then the people who did the best were selected, and there was hundreds of people painting, and I think it was, I don't know how many hundreds of artists, but only like a couple hundred or something like that actually got to paint for Van Gogh, and they had to paint like 30 paintings a week or something to be able to keep up with their production. And she had said she got paid good money, and that she probably got maybe like 30 seconds of frame time when she made like 100 paintings or something. So that just, I don't know how many paintings. It was like a remarkable, like unbelievable amount of paintings that they painted really fast in a short period of time. But they did it, and it's the movie is set in stone. I think it's something like Van Gogh with Love or something like that. It's cool though. I know I watched it once, so I gotta watch it again. It was you have to really set aside some time, because it can get kind of weird watching it because of the animation, but the storyline is really good. I'm not going to give it away, but if you get a chance to watch it, watch it. As a matter of fact, I'll put the link to the movie in the YouTube notes, so that you could have it, so you can watch it. But we're doing some painting here, like in the tradition of Van Gogh, but this is definitely not like how Van Gogh painted exactly, because he painted with oil paints. So if you really want to paint like Van Gogh, you gotta do oil paints. But this is fun. This is inspired by him. I mean, he didn't have acrylic paints back then, so maybe he would have used acrylic paints. I think he would have. I think he would have explored with it. He explored everything back then. I don't know why he wouldn't explore with everything now. And I think contrary to what a lot of people believe, I think that the old artists of yesterday would embrace, not all of them, but a good portion of them would embrace acrylics and probably be fascinated that they don't have to smell their whole studio up with oil paint and use all of these chemicals that are hazardous to the environment. Well, they didn't even know back then. They had no idea, but they would know now, and they'd probably want to do something about it and try to use some safer alternatives. You think? I think so. I think so. Okay. I think we're cool. I think we're groovy. Oh, we go down here. Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for coming to my video. This is my second video tutorial, and this is I'll give this a name. I'm going to call it the Van Gogh flowers or something. I don't know, but this is my second tutorial, and I'm doing this because I have a Zoom class on Wednesday for a private group of people, and they wanted me to do tutorials for the classes, so that afterwards, if they want to come back, if they missed a step or they want to come back and work on their painting, they have something that they could that they can fall back to. So I was asked to do this. I didn't plan on doing a YouTube. I mean, I thought about it, so I think it's all a good thing. But here I am doing YouTube tutorials now. So I'm gonna try to do one a week at least, because I do work full time. But I think it's worth doing, especially if there's somebody out there who's actually gonna watch it. So you know, I don't want to. If there's just if I can just help one person, I mean, that'll make it all worth it. So anyways, you have a good time. Have a good day. Keep painting. Don't let nobody or nothing stop you from enjoying your painting time. And try to get whatever it is you're trying to get out of it, whether it's just enjoyment, or you want to get better, or you want to sell your work, or whatever it is. Just keep working at it. It just takes a lot of practice. So thank you very much, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.